XRP versus the Bank of Japan. This might be one of the most important videos we drop here in 2025 because we're going to showcase what has taken place the last 3 times the Bank of Japan has raised rates and started to unwind that carry trade, which is part of a bigger global margin call that is unwinding as we speak. What does this mean for the broader markets and specifically XRP? You're going to want to stick around to find out. Now, if you appreciate our cause here, please help us out by liking this content, sharing it out far and wide, and all of our community resources are available at ZachRector.com. Let's get you straight into the update. We're looking here at Peter Brandt, markets trader since 1975. And we're going to check Peter's ego at the door real quick. He says, for 50 years, I have traded many thousands of contracts of every commodity, stock indexes, and many cryptos as you can think of. The perma bulls who I find the most uneducated and biased are those who trumpet silver and XRP. I took this opportunity to retweet Peter and I said, this is how guys like Peter cope with the fact that the uneducated are outperforming him and everyone else on Wall Street by a long shot. And so, Peter, spend less time worrying about how educated we are. We don't even need to defend ourselves. We just let the charts do the talking, and we are destroying Wall Street. And classic traders like Peter, who've been around, but they just can't seem to wrap their mind around the fundamental opportunity that was sitting in front of us for XRP. And so we're going to keep on laughing at these guys that are trying to play catch up. And, you know, even with Peter, I do respect him. I really do. Despite the shots that some of these guys like to take, that's okay. Like I said, the numbers do the talking. And even Peter can see the opportunity that we got coming up on silver. He shows the 50-year chart of silver futures. The red arrow marks my first trade in silver. And he says the $50 level rejected in 1981 and 2011. The price is now sliced above $50. Correction should find support in the low 50s. And upside targets exist at $87 and eventually $200. So for silver, we're going to 87 and then to 200. So I appreciate the fact that Peter can set aside his ego and how educated we are, and he still has to admit to himself and everybody else that silver's not done. It's not even close. $87 is his first target, and then $200 to the upside. And so I'm curious to see, what do you guys think that silver is going to hit in 2026? Sliding on over, Stephen McClurg, who is the CEO of Canary Capital. Sol ETFs launched before XRP, but XRP ETFs have now passed Solana in total AUM. He expected this. Solana is much more efficient to hold on-chain and to stake directly for retail audiences, whereas XRP has more institutional demand and no staking. And I got to pause real quick. We have Peter saying, the most uneducated. Well, how do you explain all this institutional demand for XRP? Are they uneducated too? Well, let's let Peter figure that one out. As with everything, there will be an audience that prefers direct ownership and an audience that prefers the ease of financial instruments. Some will do both. And right here is the chart. You see that the AUM for XRP ETFs is moving up quickly. Catching up here, we have basket index funds, which include XRP, and they're moving close up to Ethereum at 22 billion, and then Bitcoin at 125 billion currently. But we've now surpassed over $1 billion in AUM for XRP, and this party is just getting started. Now, I found this is a great website that they've put together at XRP Insights. I'm going to link this up down below in case you guys want to bookmark this tab so you can track the XRP ETF statistics in progress. And so this is their ETF tracker that they've put together. They pull in the current price, the total AUM, and then what we see right here, this is the big one that I want to show you guys, 669 million XRP parked in these ETF vaults. They're also tracking the volume, and we had a nice day on Friday, 28.76 million. And every day we're seeing consistent volumes above 20 million, pushing up, some days a little bit higher. And this, once again, this is while the market's down, right? Once this market heats back up again, this is going to get very exciting. And so they have the list here from Canary in the lead right now with 171 million XRP locked. 21 shares just got started, and they were seeded with over 100 million XRP actually by Ripple, with 120 million XRP behind 21 shares right now. Grayscale surpassed the 100 million XRP mark now at 107. Bitwise as well, joining them at 104. Franklin Templeton behind at 87 million. The Rex Osprey, that's here at 50 million. And then the Bitwise XRP portion of their index fund, that's at 28 million XRP. So about 5% of that index fund is allocated to XRP currently. Franklin Templeton's rolling out their index product, and 19% of that is going to be allocated towards XRP to get started. So we're watching these, and the point that I've been making is that in the month of November, you saw $808 million of outflow on centralized exchanges. That's retail and participants that use centralized exchanges trading XRP for dollars or other coins to the tune of $808 million, getting rid of XRP. In that very same month, only the back half of the month though, because the XRP ETF for Canary didn't go live till November 13th. But on the back half of the month, we saw $803 million of inflows into XRP ETFs. So when I tell you guys that not everybody's going to get on the right side of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history, that's what I'm talking about. Retail investors that should be holding their XRP are capitulating and giving it up almost to the exact dollar amount that Wall Street is soaking it up. Don't let Wall Street take control of this. At least not take control of your bags of XRP. This party's just getting started, and I wouldn't want you to miss it. Sliding on over to really put it into context how early we are. This is the tokenized value versus the total value of common financial categories. Remember, SEC Chair Paul Atkins says that we're going to tokenize everything in the next 2 years. You want to see how early we are? Look at these numbers. For fixed income, right, we're talking about $8 billion of fixed income products that have been tokenized. The total value is 145 trillion. That is 0.0061% of the total addressable market that we're going to tokenize. We've done nothing. For stocks, it's less than 0.73 billion. Only, 730 million? Total value of the stock market, 126 trillion. 0.0006% of the addressable market. Private equity, we've tokenized nothing, 0.05 billion. Total value, that'd be 5 billion. 5,300, that's 5 trillion. My apologies. 5 trillion. 0.0009%. The closest category that we got to 1% tokenization is private credit at 17 billion. Total addressable market, 2.5 trillion. 0.69%. That's as close as we are to 1% of the addressable market being tokenized. We are still so early. For commodities, only 2 billion tokenized. Total addressable market is 142 trillion. 0.0015%. It's just, I'm not saying we're early to make you feel better. I'm just reporting the data. We don't even have 1% of any of these markets tokenized. And like I said, folks are capitulating and selling off while the ETFs soak it up, while the institutions come in, while the banks are saying you need to get off the sidelines and go to 4% allocation from Bank of America. Vanguard said we're never going to sell it. Now we're selling it. BlackRock, well, we're still waiting on their XRP ETF, but their most profitable ETF in existence is their BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. So watch what they do, not what they say is typically what we would say, but they're even saying it themselves. Listen to what they're saying and watch what they're doing. They're saying now that it's all going to be tokenized. And we're not even close to tokenizing 1% of any of these markets. And now's the time to give up on crypto? Now's the time to give up on ledgers like XRP, which are going to tokenize a lot of these markets? You're going to see a large chunk of that pie. A big slice of it is coming to the XRP ledger because the XRP ledger focused on liquidity first, which is why you would choose the XRP ledger over some of these other chains that don't have the liquidity, that can't scale. That's the other issue, is that you need to be able to scale into the hundreds of trillions. The DTCC just got the no action letter from the SEC to tokenize the 3.7, almost 4 quadrillion, that's quadrillion with a Q, that they're going to be tokenizing. And yet some folks think now's the time to bow out of crypto. Couldn't be me. Now, XRP versus the Bank of Japan. Why did I title the video this? Because I want folks to be ready for what's about to happen here. This might be one of the last good buying opportunities, might even be one of the best buying opportunities, depending on the asset, for your cryptocurrencies that comes in 2025. When you look how Japan rate hikes have reflected on the Bitcoin chart in the past year and a half, every single time Bitcoin dumped over 20%. So the question is simple, is 70,000 coming? From the current prices we're at, a 20% drop takes us to about the 72,000 support level. Makes a lot of sense. Now, my hope and my prayer, which isn't a strategy, but I'm rooting for us, and my hope and my prayer is that we can reach up and rally into the Bank of Japan interest rate decision this week. That way, when we do get that pullback, we're not going to be going too deep. Now, if you're still trying to accumulate, well, then you want to see us bleed out and then dump even further so that you could pick up these assets on an even greater sale. But some folks, and I get it, some folks are tapped out. They have no money to allocate. I get it. It's Christmas. You got to, get some gifts under the tree and whatnot. I feel you. They're lying about inflation. They're lying about how good this economy is. The job losses take us back to the great financial crisis. I understand, and I have a lot of sympathy. With that being said, I'm here to share my analysis, whether you want to hear it or not. This is the analysis that you need to hear. Because while a lot of people are hyping this up, like XRP is about to pop off by the end of this year, based off of these events that are taking place, I'm sorry to break the news. That's not what's happened. That's not what the data says. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just gathering what the data is saying. I'm reporting this message to you. So do not shoot the messenger. Either lean into this volatility or we just hold and ride it out. But what I'll be doing, and this is all I do, is I give my analysis and I tell you what I'm doing. I've placed my orders and I'm going to buy the heck out of any sort of sale they want to give us on these assets. So if we look, this is what happened in 2024. And I have it on my notepad because I broke this down in my Discord weekly call this morning. We do it every Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And so if you want my in-depth analysis on where I've placed my orders, on the most recent trade that I just entered, which I think is going to play out so great. I'm looking at the upside on this one that I just picked up, and I got targets that are 500 to 800% higher from where we're at right now. I can't wait. But if you want to find out what that is, go to the Discord group. You sign up through Patreon to get access to Discord. I'm just giving you the quick numbers right here. Your homework over the weekend is to study what happened this last 3 times that we've got Bank of Japan interest rate hikes, and then determine where you want to fit in. If you want to learn where I'm at and where our community's at, it's in the Discord group. March 19th, 2024. We saw an initial 15% drop on XRP. Let's go to the charts. This is back right here. March 19th, 2024. We got an immediate 15% drop. This is when the Bank of Japan took rates from negative 0.1% to positive 0.1%, about a 20 basis point rate hike. And this spooked the markets by 15% for XRP, but then it did lead to a bigger sell-off into April, and the complete sell-off was 35%. Now, I'm showing you right here, though, that within just 1 month, you got a bounce back of 31% to the upside. So for the short-term traders and scalpers, there's a lot of margin to make some money on that trade. But then, obviously, if you picked up XRP here at 43 cents, well, you're up 350% at the current prices that we're trading at. You rode XRP up over 650% to the all-time high. So I'm telling you right now, the buying opportunity that's about to come in, it's a great move for short-term traders. It's an even better move if you hold long-term for the next round of stimulus that is coming. And the Federal Reserve confirmed that this week. Now, this was the next interest rate hike that we got from Japan, which was on July 31st. And they raised rates by 25 basis points. XRP dumped 35% over a 5-day period. Brutal. But we immediately bounced back 53% by the end of September. So just about a month and a half later, you could, if you were able to scalp that bottom, you rode this sucker back up 40-50% in about a month. So I'm telling you not to panic, not to be scared. I'm telling you to take advantage of the opportunity. In January of this year, January 24th, we get an interest rate hike of 50 basis points from the Bank of Japan. XRP immediately dumped 17%. Came in right here. And from the high that we were at the day before, right there, that day, January 24th, we dropped 17% over 1, 2, 3, 4 days. And then, if you look, by the beginning of February, over about a 9-day period, we dropped a total of 45% for XRP. Now, the reason why this one was so dramatic for XRP in particular is because XRP had just pumped 500% in about 2 months. From November being at 50 cents, November 2024, right before the election, 50 cent XRP pumps up to $3.40 in January. And so when an asset pumps 500%, it's very easy to see a 45% pullback when the trigger was the Bank of Japan, but you already had an overbought and kind of overextended XRP without much trading structure, range, and base like we have now at $2, right? Right now, we have a good base. We have a lot of structure, a lot of passive buyers holding up XRP at $2, and people are expecting a 25 basis point rate hike. This isn't going to come as a surprise. They kind of surprised the market in January of this year when they raised by 50 basis points. And so you saw the market really coughed up. Some big losses came in after that one came. And for XRP, like I said, basically in a 4-day period, it dropped 17%. And then over about 9-10 days, it dropped a full 45% move. Now, I am not calling for a 45% drop. I don't even know if we'll see a 20% drop for XRP, but I want you guys to be prepared if it comes. And the only way to do so is to get your orders placed now, or at least this week before that interest rate decision comes in. Now, when is the decision going to come in? We're taking a look at it. I had to Google this just to double check. The decision's going to come in 11:45 a.m. To 1 p.m. Japan Standard Time. Now, this correlates to 9:45 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern the day before. So that would be Thursday, the 18th. So Thursday night, you might need to stay up a little bit later, right? Or you just set your order and then you can sleep like a baby like I do and just let your broker at Caleb and Brown fill your order and it's no problem, right? Or whatever platform you're going to use. Set your limit order, set it and forget it. Go to sleep that night. You can wake up Friday morning and see what the Bank of Japan did, and you can see if your order has filled. But it might not be a 24-hour move, right? This can take 4 or 5 days, and then you might even have a broader pullback that carries us into, Christmas time, right? And so I want our community to be prepared, because if you look at the XRP chart right now where we sit at $2.02, if this thing pulls back 20%, we're going back down to the $1.60 2025 lows that we set back in April. Now, even if we just pull back, say 10%, you're back to that $1.81 support that we hit November 21st. Now, like I said, my hope and my prayer, which isn't a strategy, but, I'm trying to speak some positivity, manifest a little positive price action, is I'd like to see us rally this week. So say, for example, if we did go up to, 220, 225, right? And then we pull back 20%, we're only coming back to this $1.80 level, right? We run up to 220, we pull back 20%, you're down to $1.77, $1.80. If we don't, and say this market kind of stays here, and we get that 20% drawdown, you're back at $1.60. So let's watch what it does this week. this is kind of a play it by ear deal. I told, get in the Discord group if you want to see where I'm going to be trading at, where I'm going to be setting my orders. Not only picking up XRP, but I'm picking up some other cryptos as well too that I think have tremendous upside over the next 6 to 12 months. This is going to be a tremendous buying opportunity for us to hop on. And I'm still in my XRP long. I'm not selling off my XRP long. Okay. But we're going to watch to see the price action that we get, leading up to the interest rate decision. We'll be looking Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday during the day. Where are we at? And that's where we're going to determine where to set our orders at so that we can get them filled. And then we can watch that relief rally, which is going to bring us right back up above $2. And we'll be well on our way to new all-time highs and double digits in 2026. That's without a doubt. So depending on how you look at it, this is either good or bad news. For those that want to accumulate more, this is great news. For those who are tired of buying opportunities and dips and pullbacks, this is bad news. But I got good news for both of us. The upside targets in 2026 remain. We're still well on our way to, the prices that you guys have been waiting for. And so either lean into this, sit back and hold, but don't let the volatility shake you out. We're not going anywhere. We're still very early. And I appreciate all of you guys for being on this journey with me. I love all of you guys. I wish you guys a very great weekend. Hope you're having a good time with the family. And we will see you guys in the next one. If you appreciate this content, please help us out by smacking it, sharing it out far and wide. And all of our resources are available at zachrector.com. Thank you and God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.